Let's talk about poop. Yeah. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. At some point, we're just going to have to talk about it. So, I'm going to share with you some personal experiences, observations about the changes of the bowel habits associated with cleansing. I'm not a poop expert. I am not a poop evaluation expert either. I'm sure there are people who have a lot more knowledge about what poop should look like, et cetera, and all the rest of that stuff. But I want to share with you just a little bit because if we're talking about elimination and we're talking about having things get out, it seems reasonable to just take a closer look. So if you've never considered poop and you haven't ever looked at it because you just don't want to, that's totally fine. That's up to you. I'm just saying for those who kind of want to know a little bit more and want to evaluate the situation, then I'm going to share with you what I think I know. And if I'm off base on some of this stuff, you can please comment and let me know that there's better sources and that I should learn some better stuff. Okay. So, first of all, frequency, right? Normally, we talk about going poop 3 to 4 times a day, and I know that sounds like a lot. Some people go every 3 or 4 days, and that would be major constipation. So every time you eat, especially a significant thing, there should be natural reflexes that the peristalsis, once we've been eating, the peristalsis of the entire tube starts, and it should generate within 20 minutes or so. It should generate a need to poop. So because the peristalsis wave, the little contractions down the muscle, the smooth muscle of the tube, is pushing the material out. So there's just a frequency issue. If you're not pooping at least 2 or 3 times a day, then you could consider yourself blocked up in some, or sluggish in some way. Now, there are a lot of different reasons for being sluggish. Sometimes it's not enough, just plain not enough water. We're not drinking enough water. Sometimes it's what's happening, the chemistry in the gut itself. And that could be a bacterial issue, not having the right flora, so maybe need probiotic. It could be a biochemistry issue. That's the other thing, is if the liver's not producing enough bile, that also creates problems with the process of poop. There's other things that, if there's blockages, and we're just talking about things stopped up, and maybe there's spasms that can really shrink the opening so that there's only a very small opening that allows that. A doctor that saw that when I was describing my poop one time to a doctor, and I had these little pellets, and he said, "Oh, that's from spasms, where the tube, has these little spasms, and it prevents any large, material from getting through, and so then the rectum ends up compacting this into this poop it's basically like all these little pebbles stuffed together." So if you're seeing things like that, then there's suggestion that there's something going on that may be slightly out of balance. I'm not necessarily saying these are significant in terms of like, oh my gosh, I have to panic. No, we're just talking about observing some of these things and saying, okay, the perfect poop is one that you don't have to wipe. In other words, it comes out and you feel the peristaltic wave in the rectum, and it flows out. Just smoothly goes out. You don't have to push on it. You don't have to work at it. You feel the urge, you relax, and the poop goes out. And there's this relaxing feeling and this emptying feeling of the colon inside the core, and it's a relieving feeling, and it's a good feeling. That's the perfect poop. And then it should be a tube shaped, reasonably it's soft, not too soft but not too hard, softish, certainly not liquid. And again, kind of intact so that you don't have any mess. You're not really having to wipe anything. So there's your perfect poop. Anything that's not that suggests that, well, maybe I could improve something in my bowel to get better poop. And I occasionally have those perfect poops, but not as often as I'd like. And so I'm still working on my bowel. Okay, so some of the changes in the poop that we would be looking at, or I consider to be part of the cleansing process. And so when we start talking about eliminating, and we're talking about doing cleanses right now, I'm doing the 5-day nutritive cleanse. So as we start doing these cleanses, we can expect some change in bowel, or if we're watching for how our bowel is reacting to food that we eat and things like that. So, you can watch for those. But what I'm saying is, from a cleansing perspective, there's a couple things we can look at. We can look at the consistency. In other words, is it watery or hard? If there's a change to get more hard and pelleted, then there's something that's maybe causing spasming in the colon. If it's becoming more watery, then the body may be trying to clear something, or there's maybe even some toxin that's produced by fungus or yeast or something like that in the gut that's causing things to be a little bit runny. There's unfortunately, a lot of reasons. We don't necessarily have to know the cause, but if we just watch for that and go, oh, okay, I'm clearing something, there's something that's changed, I'm clearing something now, I'm going to keep drinking my water, keep taking my supplements. I mean, it's not saying that would change anything. If you get locked up totally, like completely locked down constipation, that may be where you do stop the cleanse and say, okay, I just need to go back to taking a whole bunch of enzymes and vitamin C, and then I will and then drink a whole ton of water until things regulate back again. And that's how it used to be for me. That when I first started trying to do bowel cleanses, it would just lock me up. It didn't matter what I did. And then after I did some liver cleanses and opened up my liver, my bowels got improved dramatically. And then I also got colonics, colon hydrotherapy. I had a series of 10 colonics, one a week for 10 weeks. And that really, really changed for the good, my colon. Okay, so we have consistency issues that we can look at. We have, I'm not going to get into color and stuff, maybe just a little bit. I mean, the cream color versus darker color. If it's really, really, really dark, that could be a sign of blood somewhere in the digestive tract. If it's really, really pale, it's usually a weak liver. Some people talk about the poop that floats, or if there's a film on it. And I don't know enough about all that, but again, I think it's connected to, I would say it's really connected to liver. If the liver is not producing good bile and you're not getting emulsification of the fat, then any oil or fat that you eat ends up going all the way out into the bowel. There should not be greasy oil coming out in your poop. That should have been emulsified by the liver. So that part is I think that's what I think is going on. That you're looking at needing to support the liver. There's sensation associated with that we can talk about. If it's really only one sensation. We call it a butt burner. I had a butt burner, and that means we're cleansing, the body's getting rid of toxins. And when the poop goes out, it literally burns the anus. I mean, it really is irritating. There's some, I don't know what's in there. I always, like I said, I attribute this to acids and toxins that are coming out through the bowel, which is a good thing. And these usually happen in response to cleanses that I'm doing. Okay, in other words, I'm doing something deliberate, and then so Amy and I will share with each other how the cleanse is going or whatever. And so I'm having a butt burner, and so that's when that stuff is flushing out. There's toxic poop, and that's where it really feels that things are irritated. Your whole, I mean, even you might even feel it, emotionally, like, oh, everything's irritated, and then you poop, and there's this huge let go and this huge relief, and you think, oh my gosh, that must have been really toxic poop sitting in there, irritating my whole body and feeding back all the way up into my attitude, my brain. And so that's what we call toxic poop. So if you get huge relief and actually mental clarity and emotional balance right after you poop, because this toxic poop is left, that's a sign that there's some really, to me, that would be a sign that there's really bad stuff that's coming out, which is great. We want it to go out. But maybe you need to do a little more support just to keep track of that process and go, okay, if I'm really having a lot of those, then I probably need to do more aggressive cleansing to get this stuff out, so I don't have these reactions. So this is just a little overview of kind of how we monitor poop and looking at it and see what the signs are. Not necessarily that we would necessarily do anything about these things, but just it's something that if you're sitting here doing this and you've never done anything, you've never even considered your poop, you never, oh, I don't even want to think about it, but now you're willing to look at it from a wellness perspective, and you start doing a cleanse and you have a butt burner and you think, oh my gosh, I got to run to the doctor. No, it's probably not that urgent. I mean, if something persists, for a couple of weeks, then sure. So you can also there's the butt burner. Then you can also get the watery consistency where you have diarrhea. You can get mucus in there. Those can again be times when the body's clearing something, or if there's an irritation. Oftentimes when we cleanse, it creates an imbalance in the colon that the bacteria are not balanced, and so that might be a sign there where you need to replenish with the flora. So that might be where you jump in with some probiotic, Life 9 or whatever, and get that going earlier than you would. Maybe you'd say, well, I'll get through my cleanse and then I'll do the probiotic reflorestation afterward, and you might decide that you want to go ahead and get started while in the middle of the cleanse because you're having reactions where you have this mucus or diarrhea that's looking like it's watery with some mucus. Then there's the explosive gas, and that again is methane. And the reason, and if you have a lot of smell, a lot of odor, the odor is methane. Sometimes you can have some sulfur smell to it, but it's when you have a real stinky poop, then again, I would say that your body's really not digesting whatever food you're eating. Your body's not digesting well, and you're not handling well. It really shouldn't be that smelly. It should be just kind of, especially if you're eating a lot of plant material. Generally, our experience is if when you eat low quality meat products, especially like lunch meat, things like that, then you end up with stinky poop, and that's been true in our house. So those are a couple of factors that we kind of look at, and I'll probably get, I'm asking for comments a lot on these videos, and we get a few here and there, but I'll probably get like a whole bunch of comments on poop, and it's one of those things. What can you do? Okay, so anyway, I hope this is helpful. If you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. You probably already cut it off a long time ago. But the idea here is that there are some obviously body signals that can help us kind of monitor the process. It's not necessarily that would create any alarms, but just to be reassured. Oh, okay, other people experience that too. Sometimes that's comforting. And so anyway, those are some of the issues. Like I said, if you have some comments, great. Love to have them. Let's talk more poop, and one day at a time with our wellness. So we'll see you tomorrow. Happy wellness.